Guess who procrastinated filming because she got hooked on a new audiobook and now must film when it's dark out and the lighting looks shitty? Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. Hello friends, what's up? It's Jaime here. Welcome back to another Fangirl Fridays video. These are the videos where I make all my favorite things everyone else's problem. And in today's video, I'm going to go through all of my 2024 favorites. Favorite shows, favorite anime, favorite video game, etc, etc. By the way, none of what's on this list is exclusively 2024. Like, I didn't just put things that only came out in 2024 as my favorites in this video. Just anything that I enjoyed the most throughout last year is what made it into this list, just so that we're all on the same page. Now, without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting with my favorite shows of 2024. If you watched my tier list video where I ranked everything that I watched in 2024, none of what I'm about to say should surprise you. But The Legend of Vox Machina, Arcane, Abbott Elementary, and Steven Universe were my top shows for 2024. As the absolute fantasy-loving nerd that I am, The Legend of Vox Machina, Arcane, and Steven Universe were such great viewing experiences. If you know me, you know that 2012 TMNT is my favorite show of all time, and I don't think that will ever change. But The Legend of Vox Machina and Arcane are seriously a very close second and third. Getting to finally watch the complete Steven Universe series for the first time all the way through, that really did something to heal my inner child. Oh my gosh, it was such an incredible, nostalgic, but also just great experience. I love that show so much. I had forgotten just how much I loved that show, and it was just so great to revisit it. And Abbott Elementary continues to be just the coziest, most fun show ever, and I love watching every episode with Adam. Next, we have my favorite movies of 2024. Again, if you saw my tier list, none of these should surprise you, but Haikyuu, The Dumpster Battle, Wicked, and Elemental were my favorite movies of 2024. I've established many times on the channel that Haikyuu is my favorite anime of all time, and so while I'm honestly very bummed and concerned about how they're going to adapt the rest of the manga, although I did see something that apparently, allegedly, they are going to do more than just the 2 movies that they said they were going to do initially. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I hope so. I hope so, because I know that there's still a lot of the manga left to be adapted. So I'm like, how are you going to fit all that in one more movie? I'm not sure if that's going to work. I'm very concerned. Anyway, that could be a whole separate video. All of that being said, I really enjoyed the dumpster battle. I talked about this in my tier list video, but Adam and I agreed, because we went to go see it together, that if there was any match for them to adapt into a movie, the Karasuno versus Nekoma match, we feel like it really worked, because we're just already so familiar with Karasuno and Nekoma as teams and all of their players. So you didn't really have to set up too much exposition of who everybody is and all their play styles and all their special tricks and all that, and their backstories and all that stuff. Obviously we still got some more of Kenma and Kuro's origins and whatnot, but it wasn't like we needed the entire movie to set up all of these things that we already know from the anime, which we felt worked really well, because it really allowed the movie to concentrate more on the match itself. And the match was so cool. Getting to see Haikyuu on the big screen was such a fun experience, and the match was so good. Seeing how evenly matched, that's the thing that we've kind of known for a long time, throughout the story of Haikyuu, that Karasuno and Nekoma are very evenly matched, but getting to really see it in a very high stakes game, oh my god, it was so good. We had such a blast, such a great time. And Wicked is a fucking incredible movie. As a Broadway musical theater loving nerd, this movie just hit, pun intended, all of the right notes. It was just everything I could have wanted from a musical adaptation, and just a movie in general. It was so good. The songs were incredible. The performances were just phenomenal. The overall storytelling and cinematography, it was just so, everything about it was just Oh, it was so good. It was so good. Oh my god. I loved it so much. I especially really love, honestly, my favorite thing, more than just like, again, obviously the songs are iconic. I love musical theater. I love Broadway. And I love Wicked. Wicked was the very first Broadway show I ever saw ever a couple of years ago. And so for that, it will always have like such a special place in my heart. And of course, the songs are so incredibly iconic amongst theater, like the theater community. But honestly, my favorite thing to come out of like Wicked, like being released, is the conversations around the political messaging of the movie, because I think it's so crucial. It's obviously very topical, the matters of fascism, and specifically like our roles in like fascist society, like how we can be complicit in fascism, and like especially like analyzing a character like Glinda. I especially like to shout out Fantastic Frankey and the folks over at Crazy Stupid Podcast, because they each have really good videos talking about Glinda's character. And obviously, Glinda's a very nuanced, very complex character, but also really examining just like how much she aligns herself with the fascist that is the wizard in Wicked. And it's really interesting. I really recommend you go watch those videos. I'll have them linked down below in the description if you're interested. But yeah, Wicked is just a great fucking movie. I'm so excited for Wicked for Good, and I know I'm going to absolutely sob my eyes out. I'm going to cry. I will bawl during that movie, because I didn't really like, I teared up a bit throughout this movie, but like I'm going to cry like a baby during Wicked for Good. Like I can already feel it. I already know what's gonna happen, and I cannot wait. Also, really quickly, as a former theater kid and now a theater adult, I feel inclined to touch upon, like, I know that there are a lot of theater kids who in general, like, this isn't just like a Wicked thing, but obviously Wicked is like the most recent example of this, where whenever a musical becomes like mainstream, although to be fair, Wicked was already like, in terms of like amongst the theater community, a pretty mainstream musical. Like this was by no means like an underground like indie musical that nobody had ever heard of. Like people knew Wicked even before this movie, but you know, every time this happens, I know that theater kids always feel, you know, kind of disgruntled about like musicals becoming more mainstream, because like, and believe me, because I've encountered a lot of these people like in my real life, online, in various sectors of my life, who like love to like put down and like hate on musicals and people who like musicals. But then all of a sudden, when you've got this new big mainstream musical, all of a sudden all these people who acted like they were too cool and too good for musicals are first in line going to go see Wicked. Like I definitely understand and sympathize with like, it's like damn, like it's very frustrating. Like I definitely feel that. But at the same time, I'm also, because personally, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I also really like, sorry, I'm going off on like this whole other tangent. This is not what this video is about. Maybe I should do a video about musicals. That's honestly, the fact that I haven't is kind of kind of criminal of me. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that I feel like, you know, there's always going to be people who are going to clown on musicals and act like they're too good to enjoy them. But then the moment you have a musical enter the mainstream in this capacity, they will, pun intended, flip the script, and all of a sudden they're like the biggest fucking fan. And I can get how that can be really frustrating and annoying. Like, believe me, I've definitely felt that before. But also, you know, as somebody who makes these videos, these Fangirl Fridays videos, like, I really do them because I I don't really gatekeep my interests. I do quite the opposite. I make like however long videos babbling on, like rambling on about everything that I love about a show or a movie or a video game or like whatever it is that I'm like really obsessed with at the moment. And so like I feel like I'm really not in a position to be like, again, to like gatekeep my interest, to be like, no, you can't enjoy these musicals. now that they're mainstream, because I liked them before they were like super mainstream. So yeah, so I'm just kind of like, I personally like, I feel kind of, I wouldn't say indifferent. Honestly, I would say that I don't mind it when when musicals enter the mainstream in this way, because it makes me really happy to see people who might not have really like paid attention to these musicals before like get really excited about them and get really excited about the story and the songs and the characters. And I think that's a really cool thing, and I know that that's probably going to be a very unpopular opinion amongst the theater community, but oh well, whatever. Anyway, Jesus, that was a long side tangent. I apologize. Elemental is such an underrated gem, and it's genuinely criminal that this movie wasn't marketed better, because it is so good. I loved it so much. I cried like a baby throughout the entire movie. Like, it is so, oh my god, it like hit me. It hurt all of my feelings in the best way possible. Like, it's such a beautiful story about an immigrant family and generational trauma, but also there's like this really beautiful romance, and just like, it's so beautiful. The animation is really beautiful. The characters are really fun. I loved both of the main characters so much. Ember and Wade, they were so cute. And I just really enjoyed this movie. If you've been thinking about watching this movie, I would definitely recommend it. It's so cute and sweet, and I loved it so much. And I'm just like so bummed that more people like didn't like watch this movie, because it's so good. Once again, if you saw my tier list, then you already know what my favorite anime of 2024 is, and begrudgingly, it is Jujutsu Kaisen. I have such a love, as I continue to establish in every video that I mention it, I have such a love-hate relationship with Jujutsu Kaisen. On the one hand, I genuinely am a big fan of this show. On the other hand, I'm a fan of this show, which means I have not known peace since I've watched it. But in all seriousness, I did really enjoy it, even though it took me a bit to get into it. Like, I wasn't immediately hooked from the first couple of episodes, but once I was in, I was locked in. Like, me and Adam, we could not get enough of this show. We binged it so quickly, which does not really, like, I need to stress this, like, does not usually happen. Adam does not really binge watch shows. Like, when we watch things together, we'll usually watch like one episode per day. We were like flying through the seasons of Jujutsu Kaisen together, and we watched the movie together. Like, it was a blast, but also we're both irreparably traumatized, so there's that. Next, we have Stardew Valley, my favorite video game of 2024. I've been playing Stardew since 2021. It's become one of my favorite games of all time. But what made it really special for me this past year was that Adam and I played a lot of Stardew together on our co-op farm. This isn't actually our first co-op farm that we've had together. We had one before this one that we've currently been playing, but sadly the game file of our old farm got corrupted, so we had to abandon ship and start a new farm. And it was sad, but it wasn't like absolutely devastating, because we hadn't made it like super far in that old save. But now in this new save, we've done a lot. We've gone to Ginger Island and unlocked the Walnut Room. We've been doing a lot of the Walnut Room quests. We recently unlocked the movie theater. Because we got really busy towards the later part of the year, we haven't really been able to play too much of the most recent update, but we're still really excited to explore all of the features, and we've just been having a really good time playing this game together. It's been so fun, like, just making making a ton of money and just having a cozy game to play together, especially because Adam does all the fishing, which is very nice for me. And it's just a good time. Highly recommend playing Stardew Valley with your partner. It is just such a great time. I read a lot of really great books this year, so it was very difficult to come up with a top 5, but I feel pretty good about the books that I'm about to list. So we have Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn, Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert, Dear Sendeden by Akweke Emezi, The Roommate Risk, also by Talia Hibbert, and One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Now, I have established many times on the channel that the Legendborn cycle by Tracy Deonn is my current favorite book series. I love those books so much. I loved Legendborn. Tracy Deonn absolutely broke my brain with that book, and she absolutely broke my brain with Bloodmarked. I also loved that book so much. I'm so excited for Oathbound. Also, so scared. I'm so nervous, but I'm super excited for that book to come out and to read it. Oh my gosh, I'm like on the edge of my seat. I'm just like waiting for that book very like patiently but also impatiently. Like I need that book right now. I need to read it right now. I need to know what happens. Oh my god, I'm so scared, but I'm also really excited. But while I have been anxiously awaiting the release of Oathbound, I had the privilege of reading 4 Talia Hibbert books this past year, the Brown Sisters series and the Roommate Risk. And honestly, I'm so mad at myself for not reading any Talia Hibbert books before this past year, because this woman knows how to write a fucking romance. Like, she is, I don't know how she does it. I'm like, please teach me your ways, because she writes these romances that are just so excellent. If it weren't for the other books in my top 5, like, easily all the books that I've read by her so far would have been in my top 5. But if I had to pick my absolute favorite Talia Hibbert book out of the ones that I've read so far, take a hint, Dani Brown is just so, it is perfection. I keep forgetting that I only started reading Akwaeke Emezi books this past year because it feels like their writing has just become such a staple in my life, as if I've always been reading their work. But no, I only first read Dear Sendiden in February of this past year. And holy shit, that book absolutely, fundamentally broke my brain. It was phenomenal. Akwaeke Emezi is truly like a once in a generation kind of writer. Like, they are just so fucking good. If you're not reading like Akwaeke Emezi books, you need to fix that right now, because their writing is just like next level. I don't remember the title off the top of my head, but I do know that they have a new book coming out this year that I'm super excited for. I know it's like a fantasy book with like these magical twins, and one of them goes missing, and I'm super excited to read it. So again, if you are not reading Akwaeke Emezi books, you need to get on that, and what better way than with their newest book. Overall, Talia Hibbert and Casey McQuiston were my most read authors of 2024. As I have already established, Talia Hibbert knows how to write a fucking romance, and Casey McQuiston also knows how to write a fucking romance. All of their books that I've read so far, because I haven't read all of their books by each author, but of the ones that I've read, they are so good. Especially Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and The Roommate Risk for Talia Hibbert, and then One Last Stop for Casey McQuiston. Also, I recently met Casey McQuiston at an author signing at the Barnes & Noble in Union Square, and they were so lovely, and we actually gushed over our mutual love of Talia Hibbert books, which was so fun, and they were so lovely. What a sweet human. I have a picture with them that I'll insert here, and it was just great. They signed my books, and it was such a good time. Oh my gosh. What an incredible human. Usually for like these videos, I do separate categories of like favorite YouTuber and favorite TikToker, but this year, my favorite YouTuber and favorite TikToker just happen to be the same creator, and that creator is Jelly Bean Celine. Considering the fact that I don't really watch vlogs that much anymore, like in the grand scheme of things in terms of like all the content that I consume, because I consume a lot of like content across YouTube, TikTok, all the things. I am chronically online, can you tell? But like a couple of years ago, I feel like I was like really watching like so many like different vloggers. Like, I was really subscribed to like a lot of different vlog channels, and I feel like I've really scaled it back within the past couple of years. So I always find it really like funny and interesting that a lot of my favorite creators within the past couple of years have been vloggers or like vlogger adjacent. And so like with Celine, I first found her on TikTok. The first video of hers that I watched was a day in my life as a sociology PhD student, and I loved that video. I loved the style of it. I really liked Celine's like overall vibes, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna follow her. And sorry, I got distracted because Luna's meowing because my parents went out and she's like, where did they go? Why did they leave me? It's okay, Luna. It's okay, they'll be back. But yeah, I've just really enjoyed Celine's content. I love her day in a life vlogs and her what I eat in a day videos and everything else in between that she's posted. And I really love that between her YouTube and her TikTok, the vibes of the videos are very similar. So it's really just a matter of like, do you want to watch something more long form right now or something more short form? And you're going to get the same good quality from each platform, and I really love that. On TikTok specifically, there are a lot of Celine's videos that I find very comforting and cozy that I've started saving to my phone, because in the event that TikTok does indeed get banned here in the US and the app becomes unusable, I still, want to be able to access these videos that I love so much. Anyway, I really recommend checking out Celine. She seems like a really cool person. She has a really interesting life. I kind of alluded to this before, but she's a sociology PhD student, and she also travels to a bunch of really cool places and goes to some really cool events. And so it's really interesting, especially because I have like absolutely like so little interest in ever going back to school. And like I want to travel eventually, but I'm also like desperately afraid of flying, and I don't really like traveling that much, even though I do want, there are some places that I definitely would love to go, but again, like the act of traveling, I'm like ugh. So it's just kind of cool to watch somebody like go through all these experiences that I probably won't or are very unlikely to experience myself, but it's just kind of cool to watch like Celine's like little adventures and side quests, and I don't know, she's cool. I like her vibes. Okay, so this is a new category that I've decided to add to my favorites videos because as the YouTube addict that I am, I always have at least one YouTube video every year that I just like absolutely like obsess over and hyperfixate on and watch a million times and just like still somehow like not get sick of it. And the videos for me this year were I cooked all 80 Stardew Valley recipes in real life by Charlie Barley, and A Girl's Guide to Getting Eliminated by Carly. The Stardew Valley recipe video was my first time watching anything by Charlie, and as the big like Stardew Valley fan that I am, I loved how delightfully chaotic and unhinged it was. And there were some very questionable decisions that were made in the making of that video, but it was so much fun. I've watched that video a million times and I love it so much. I love having it on in the background when I'm working or like when I'm gonna like take a nap or like whatever, because I like to listen to YouTube when I'm like going to sleep, and this has been like a go-to video for me throughout the year. I love it so much. It's so silly, but if you are like a Stardew Valley fan, like I think you'll still enjoy it, even if some of these recipes don't turn out exactly, I'm sure, the way that Concerned Ape intended them to, but it's still just a silly, goofy time, and I really liked it. And I also just really like, this was a video that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start watching more of Charlie's content. So I've been slowly making my way through the rest of her like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing and some other assorted games content, and I really like her vibes too. Like she's really funny and chill, and I just like her a lot. Okay, and so the story behind me coming across A Girl's Guide to Getting Eliminated actually has something to do with something I talked about in my tier list video that I made recently. So in that video, I talked about how I watched the Netflix docuseries Popstar Academy, which is about the formation of the global girl group Cat's Eye. After watching the docuseries, I have since become a huge fan of Cat's Eye, of the Cat's Eye girlies. I love them so much. They're so talented. But I've also been following the girls who didn't debut, because they are all the girls who were on that show were so unbelievably talented, and I wish nothing but the best for all of them, one of them being Carly. She's one of my favorites of the girls who didn't debut, and that's largely due to this video. As the title suggests, Carly basically gets into what it was like to be eliminated during the whole survival show process and what her life has looked like since in terms of like pursuing her dreams. I really like this video because one, Carly did a really good job putting it together with the narration and the style of vlog. I personally feel like, I don't know if this is something she's interested in at all, but like just kind of like putting it out there, if this is something she wanted to pursue, I think she'd be a good YouTuber. Like I genuinely, for like her first, like, I mean, this is not like the first video on like her channel, but just like the first like video that she's made on her channel, it was really good. So I personally feel like she could be a YouTuber if that was something she wanted to pursue. But obviously, I don't know if that's something she is interested in doing at all. But anyway, the second thing as to like why I really like this video is I feel like, you know, it's really comforting to see someone like still pursuing their dreams, even if they have to pivot in like how they go about pursuing their dreams. Because believe me, even though my dream is like not to become a pop star, I don't even know if that's still Carly's dream, to become like this like big like pop star, like global superstar, like whatever. But I know how hard it is, like believe me, I know how hard it is to break into the entertainment industry in regardless of what within the industry you want to do. And so like it's really reassuring to see Carly and a bunch of the girls from the survival show for that matter, like on the various social media platforms, to see that they're still making art in ways that feel better suited to them and that's hopefully more sustainable and less stressful than how it was like being on the survival show. I also really love the song that she put out. It's only on her YouTube channel. It's called Perfect Crime, and I feel like it really highlights Carly's vocals and the strengths of her vocals in ways that I don't think that the survival show like challenges ever really did her justice. Also, like the lyrics are really good. I'm pretty sure it's self-written and it's like has a really good message about like breaking away from people pleasing habits and like a people pleasing mentality and like personality, which, you know, I feel like Carly's survival show experience gives her a unique perspective on. And I just really love the way that she tackled it in this song. So even if you're not familiar with Cat's Eye or you haven't watched the docuseries, I really recommend this video because again, it's like a really well made and I feel like it overall has a really good message and I really loved it a lot. Next, we have my favorite artists slash albums of 2024. Here are my top artists from my Spotify Wrapped, which is, I would say, pretty accurate, but I'm still baffled that Chappell Rowan wasn't in my top 5 artists. But I guess because Gracie and Lizzie released the deluxe versions of their albums this past year, I just overall listened to more Gracie and Lizzie songs than I listened to Chappell songs. But in terms of the artists and the albums that I felt like I resonated the most with this year, like overall, we have Sabrina Carpenter and Short and Sweet, Chappell Roan and The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, and then Leve and Bewitched, particularly the deluxe version of Bewitched. I just, oh my gosh, I love these artists and these albums so much. I've really been loving like listening to Chappell and Leve's Tiny Desk concerts. I love having them on while I'm working. I'm so happy that Sabrina's Tiny Desk concert just came out. It was everything I could have hoped for and more. She sounded so good. I have been a long time Sabrina Carpenter fan. I didn't watch her on Girl Meets World, but I've been listening to her music since her like second album. One of my absolute favorite Sabrina Carpenter songs of all time is Sue Me, especially the acapella version. Like I have loved her music for a really long time. She is so talented and I'm so happy that she is finally getting her flowers and that she's really found like her niche, like her sound and her aesthetic between Emails I Can't Send and Short and Sweet especially. I actually saw her on the Emails I Can't Send tour with one of my best friends, Athea, and we're so, in retrospect, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was such a good concert. Getting to see her live was such a privilege. And in retrospect, Athea and I are like so happy that we got to see her because we're like, damn, we're never gonna be able to see her again. But it's okay. So happy that she's again getting her, she's finally getting her flowers, finally getting the recognition that she deserves. But it's like, damn, we're never gonna get to see her perform live ever again. Ah! Anyway, my top 3 songs on Short and Sweet are Good Graces, Slim Pickens, and Juno. I've loved watching, even though I haven't been able to attend the Short and Sweet tour, I've loved watching all like the videos of her, especially the ones doing all the different Juno positions. They are constant reminders that I am in fact queer. And even though I get really intense FOMO from watching these videos because I know I won't be able to see the tour live, but it's okay. Hopefully like they'll do like a they'll release like the whole like concert on streaming eventually. I'll be very happy if that happens. I'm sure it will. But yeah. Very sad that I won't get to see her on tour for this album, but it's fine. In contrast to being a Sabrina Carpenter fan, I'm definitely a much newer Chappell Roan fan, but I have quickly absolutely fallen in love with her music like every other queer person ever. Like, I'm definitely not unique in this. Obviously, she's like one of the biggest fucking artists right now, but I love her so much. Literally every song on Midwest Princess is such a fucking good song. All of them are good. Literally no skips. There are no skips on that album. It is so good. Every single song is like perfection. It's actually like it's nuts. Like, what do you mean you just made all these great songs on like one out? Like, what? Oh my gosh. I know she has like other she has like earlier songs, and she kind of like had like a bit of a rebrand. I do want to listen to some of her older stuff, but so far I've only listened to the songs on Midwest Princess, as well as like Good Luck Babe, of course, and I love them. Oh my gosh, she's so fucking talented. I love him so much. If I absolutely had to pick my top 3 off of the Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, I'd have to go with, like, my number 1 is Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl. Then it would probably have to be My Kink is Karma, and then Red Wine Supernova. But genuinely, I love all the songs. Like, honestly, like, Super Graphic Modern fuck. Super Graphic Ultra Modern Girl, Jesus, is definitely like my absolute favorite, but my overall top 3 changes all the time. Because, like, what do you mean, like Feminine Phenomenon, Casual, Pink Pony Club? They are so good. And obviously not on Midwest Princess, but Good Luck Babe is such a fucking good song. Oh my god, Chappell Roan is so talented. I can't wait to see. I love the what is it called? The song that she did on SNL, The Giver. Oh, I'm so excited. I also, they took down the performance. What's up with, does anyone know what's up with that? Because I'm like, where did it go? Where did it go? I love that song, and I love the performance. I know people have probably like re-uploaded that performance on like different things, but like, I'm just like, what was up with that? But I love that song. I can't wait to see what she puts out next. I also just hope that she's doing okay, like, mental health wise. I need people to stop like fucking harassing this poor woman and just leave her the fuck alone, and like just stop being the most like awful, annoying fucking people that, like, over the fact that she has boundaries and like some fucking morals. Like, y'all need to fucking grow up. Like, leave her alone. Like, actually leave her alone. Anyway, like with Chappell, I'm also a new Leve fan, but I have very quickly fallen in love with her jazz sound. It makes me feel very nostalgic because back when I was in high school and I did choir, we sang a lot of jazz songs. There was even at one point, but then COVID happened, I was gonna like do like this other like jazz choir that didn't end up working out again because of COVID. But it just makes me, her songs, Leve's music, like, really makes me feel very nostalgic for that time. And just, she also just has the most beautiful fucking voice. Oh my gosh, she literally sounds like, no wonder she has a song called Goddess, because she literally sounds like what the heavens I imagine to sound like when she sings, because it is just beautiful. I really want to see her live, because literally every video I've seen of her singing her songs live, she sounds just as good, if not better, than the recordings. And I'm like, how did you do that? How do you do that with your voice? Like, oh my gosh, you are incredible. Like, what a voice, man. And she also just seems like like a really like cool person, and I love her TikToks. She's so funny. She's so silly and unserious. Like, I love her. Trying to pick my top 3 songs from Bewitched is also very difficult because those songs are just so good. But if I had to choose, my top 3 are While You Were Sleeping, Letter to My 13-Year-Old Self, and then, of course, Bewitched. But genuinely, all the songs are so fucking good. Oh my gosh, like, every single song on that album is just so good. And last but certainly not least, we have my favorite squish of the year. My favorite squish of 2024 was this little guy, Kakashi. I love him so much. He's so cute and squishy. I got him from a Five Below when Adam and a couple of our friends went to go get tea, either in late spring or summer of this last year. I don't remember exactly, but after we got tea, we were just kind of walking around the area and we went into a Five Below and I saw this guy. I was like, oh, I simply must have him. I'm like, I think I must get him. And I did. And he's so cute and squishy. I love him. Kakashi's one of my favorite Naruto characters. And now I have a little one. I have a little Kakashi. Like, look at him. He's just so round. So round and huggable. Like, just look at that face. That mask covered face. You know, Kakashi, he's always adhering to COVID protocols, and you know, you gotta respect that. Alright, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Based on my favorites list from this year, if you guys have any recommendations for anime or movies or music or video games that you think I would enjoy, feel free to leave your recommendations down below in the comments. Once again, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, except when I don't. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.